My name is Karen Jans, and I'm the Field Unit Superintendent for Parks Canada here in Prince Edward Island, and I have the privilege of being your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. C'est avec un immense plaisir que je vous accueille ici aujourd'hui pour un announcement gathered here today on the traditional unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq people. These lands are covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. So now please allow me the opportunity to introduce our podium guests. Sitting in the middle is the Honorable Lawrence MacAulay, Minister of Veterans Affairs, and Associate Minister of National Defense, and the Member of Parliament here for Cardigan. Sitting to Mr. MacAulay's right is the Honorable Dennis King, our Premier of Prince Edward Island. And immediately to my right is Dr. Alaa Abd-El-Aziz, President and Vice Chancellor of the University of Prince Edward Island. I'd also like to recognize in the audience we have Dr. Adam Fennick, and Adam is our Director of the UPEI Climate Lab and Professor of Environmental Studies and Biology for the university. Welcome, gentlemen. So now we're going to get right on with some really wonderful news. I now invite the Honorable Lawrence MacAulay to deliver remarks on behalf of the Government of Canada. Minister MacAulay.
How do you get this thing away from you, Karen? Took us long enough to get here. Thank you very much, Karen, and I'm certainly a privilege to be here on the stage with Premier King and President Alaa. Indeed, it is a pleasure, and it took a while. I also want to recognize, and if you'd stand up, Sidney McEwen, the member of the provincial legislature and a big supporter of this project. Sean Casey, the member of parliament for Charlottetown. Senator Griffin. Wade McLaughlin, former premier. And I think Senator Percy Down is here. I think he took, I think Percy, I'd like to ask Percy if he took the ferry over here today. Anyhow, Percy and I have been friends a long time, and he's certainly a great asset. Karen, this is an announcement that you didn't think would ever happen. Karen is she's instrumental in starting this program. 6 years ago, Karen mentioned to me at the Roma dinner, she had something important that she wanted me to deal with. But she said, I won't tell you until you have more influence. And that's true. She did not. But then when I got influence, and of course she had great hope, and I guess I did too, but whatever. When I did get appointed Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food, I wasn't long on hearing from Karen Jans. I can assure you that. Karen knows, and everybody I guess in the room knows, the speed of government is slow and stop. Now Karen thought this was on stop for a long time, but really I have a great interest in the environment. The Government of Canada is making historic investments in infrastructure to grow our country's economy and improve our quality of life. Thanks to the $180 billion 12-year infrastructure program, thousands of projects are underway or already completed nationwide. Many of those are in the eastern end of Prince Edward Island, which includes the Mason Road roundabout, improvements to the Morel Rink, renovations to the Fortune Community Centre, millions of dollars in wharf repair, improvements to the Tracadie Community Centre, and adding secondary roads to the list, as Wade is well aware. This is helping island businesses and communities get their products to market and help people get safely where they need to be. In PEI, we have invested over $160 million in 70 projects to the infrastructure so far. And today, I am very proud and pleased to be in my home area to make an announcement. Right across the bridge here, if you look over where Joe Leslie's service station was, and up back here, Rick Renault's Fish and Chips, the University of Prince Edward Island will be building a new approximately $20 million, first of its kind, 45,000 square foot Canadian Centre for Climate Change and Adaptation. That is so wonderful, ladies. Karen is a woman of faith. I called her to chair this event, and she didn't tell me she had lost hope fully and totally. She said I had hung on by one thread, she said. But anyhow, it has worked, and this includes also a $5 million of Infrastructure Canada, $4 million plus from MacAulay for equipment, and also the land. And of course, with the land was donated. And we got a lot of great people in Prince Edward Island and in Canada. And I would just like you to hold your applause. There was 3 individuals, 3 operations that donated land for this. The first was Richard Flynn. Then there was Ray and Alvin Keenan. Ray is here. Please stand up, Ray. And Gordon McKay, you're here. Gordon McKay, please stand up. These are the people that donated the land so this could happen, ladies and gentlemen. It takes people like that to make a community move forward, and I thank them so much. And I also want to thank Premier Dennis King. Kind of hard to call Dennis the Premier. The Premier has certainly shown his interest in climate change, and that's so important. Indeed, it is a pleasure to deal with Dennis, knowing that he understands we can grow the economy and take care of the environment at the same time. It's so vital, and that is exactly what we're doing here. And also, President Alaa, thank you for not hitting me with a baseball bat, anyhow. Alaa has been doing a lot of work on this. They had island meetings of islands around the world, and they had, he has been dealing, of course, you're just back from Egypt. Alaa deals with the world. This announcement will involve the world. And I want to thank President Alaa for all that he did, all the patience that he had in order to make sure this happens. Thank you so much, President. Now, I was talking to somebody from UPEI, and they said, well, I see things happen. Once completed, and also, of course, without this center, with this center, it would not have been possible without the Greenwich National Park. One thing builds on another. Once completed, the center will be a leader in climate change research, working together with communities across PEI and all levels of government. It will stimulate growth in this area and right across the province, and I believe right across the world, because on the islands meetings you had people from right across the world. And this includes a residence which will house a number of students from right across the island and across the country and the front line of climate change. Now we will also be on the front lines of climate change research, which is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big deal. This is a game changer not only for the community of St. Peter's, not only for Eastern Prince Edward Island, but one of the only ones in the world. This is what this is. To think that we will have such a world-class facility right in our community is so amazing. We are announcing a model of interest in rural Canada. In fact, all governments are talking about rural Canada. Working with Premier King and Alaa, we have put a major injection into the rural part of Prince Edward Island. $20 million is a lot of money. But don't forget, we started the Greenwich Park with $1 million. And I remember the day so well that Percy Down, who was my chief of staff, and now Senator Down, working on the ferry, I might add, but anyhow. But whatever, we walked over to see Sheila Copps, and we got $1 million. We went over in Prince Edward Island. Just look at what they did for contractors, restaurants, the Quap store in Burrell, just whatever you talk about. People will be involved, repairs need to be made, work will need to be done. Today we're paving the way for a bright future in the Cardigan Riding and Prince Edward Island. This is what islanders deserve and ambitious in the world. We're dealing with a university that knows where they're going and how they want to get there. A little bit in a hurry, but whatever, that's good. But imagine what this area of eastern Prince Edward Island would look like in 20 years' time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
Extraordinary news. Thank you so much, Minister MacAulay. I would like to now invite the Honourable Dennis King to introduce remarks from the province.
Well, thank you very much, Karen, and talk about a hard act to follow, eh? Holy smokes. I'll begin my remarks with my welcome to all that are here, MP Sean Casey, Senators Griffin and Down, my colleagues Sidney McHugh, Jake and Chris from the Aboriginal First Nation, so thank you very much for being here. And of course, our platform guests here, MP MacAulay and President Alaa. So it's a great pleasure for me to be here, and I want to begin my remarks by saying that my first visit to Ottawa shortly after being sworn into the office, I went up to see Lawrence, and he showed me around Ottawa like I've never been shown around Ottawa before. And at that time, if you remember, Lawrence, you were a little bit hobbled and you had a cane. And we were walking into to get a bite of lunch, and I was about 6 paces behind him. I was in almost a full jog trying to keep up with him on the cane and on the hobble, but we sat down and he says, I got an important project for you that I want you to look at, and we talked about this project, and we shook hands and said, this is the type of project that we need, not just for Prince Edward Island, not just for Atlantic Canada, not just for Canada, but for the world. And it certainly is a wonderful pleasure for me to be on the stage today to offer my support on behalf of the province of Prince Edward Island to the tune of And I don't have to tell many of you in the room that for a project to make its way through government, it needs a champion, it needs somebody driving it. And of course, this gentleman here has about 30 years experience of driving projects and championing projects through but it also needs someone on the other end like the University of Prince Edward Island. And the attitude going forward from President Alaa in the short time that I've gotten to know him through my job here as Premier is, these two work together very well because they have the same mindset, and that is, let's get things done. Let's find out what the impediments are, let's knock them down, let's go around them, but let's get things done. So it certainly is a great working relationship, and I look forward by the first province to eliminate plastic bags. Things that we have been doing for a long time here, and today's announcement is further proof of our determination to continue to be leaders on climate change and environment. And I think Islanders are very, very proud that Prince Edward Island for many years has been a leader and will continue to be a leader in this important area. We are working towards a cleaner, more sustainable province using common sense, using good ideas, using science to get us to where we need to go. And I think that is the real importance of when it comes to issues like soil or coastal erosion and sea level rise. And we have to prepare for heavier rainfalls in the changing climate. We have to monitor the effects of climate change in our natural areas. as a province, an island province, we have to be more mindful than most of the changing climates and the impacts that we'll have here. And to have an institute that we're building here in partnership with the University of Prince Edward Island to actually study and to get ahead and to get a grip on what we need to do going forward, I think is a demonstration that Prince Edward Island will continue to be a leader for many years to come. What I also like about this is the tremendous opportunity not just to address the challenges, but to find the opportunities for economic growth and the opportunities connected to the change that we need to bring to make a difference here. That, to me, is what is needed. That is how our province will continue to be successful economically, and that is, at its very definition, a wonderful collaboration between multi-levels of government and our educational partners. The climate change, the Center for Climate Change and Adaptation, I'm pleased to contribute $4.8 million on behalf of the province of Prince Edward Island to make this center a new reality. As Lawrence said in his comments, I don't expect this is the end of the money. I think this is only the beginning. But it's good investment. I did have a chance to talk to Ray Keenan, who was one of the individuals who donated the land to make this happen. And I thought it was poignant, Ray's comments, when he said that, you know, this announcement isn't just big for Prince Edward Island or for Atlantic Canada. This announcement is really bigger than all of us, and it truly is, because the changing world that's out there, I mean, we really have to be, really dialed into how we approach this. And UPEI months. He sat down and he said, I said, great announcement. He said, on to the next one. And that's exactly what the attitude has to be. We got to keep it rolling. I'm very glad to be here. Lawrence, you're a driving force, and I can, you know my number, I have yours. I'm looking forward to the next one. Let's keep it rolling. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier King. We have quite a remarkable trio up here today, and last but certainly not least, the gentleman behind on the academic side of this, I'd like to welcome Dr. Alaa Abd-El-Aziz to the podium.
Good morning. I did not prepare any notes intentionally because the best way to speak is from your heart, especially when you are dealing with a university like Prince Edward Island, which in my mind, nothing better than our university in anywhere in the world. I would like first to acknowledge people that came here today. I'm trying not to forget anyone, but the important piece here for me is my university and the role that the university play. And of course, I couldn't be standing here today without the great work that done by our President Emeritus, Wade McLaughlin, that put the stage for this. I'm so pleased to continue his path, is building this great institution. He did a fantastic job, and he has been a great friend and supporter. The chair of our Board of Governors, Bat Senate, and member of the Board of Governors here today, people associated with UPEI to stand. I really like to thank you because I could not do anything without you. Those are the great leader of the university. They are the support and the encouragement of Minister MacAulay. When I spoke to him about this project a few years ago, he has been a great champion. We visited with each other. We talked about many activities and how we can do it. Actually, the discussion about St. Peter came through the work with Parks Canada, and Karen Jans has done a fantastic job so we can continue our collaboration. But really, the champion behind this great project is our Minister, Lawrence MacAulay. He has been a great supporter. He believed in the university, he believed in me, he believed that we are going to be able to succeed and build state-of-the-arts, not only for BEI, but for Canada. And we are going to attract people from around the globe to come here. That is tremendous. I have never seen things like that before, but with his support, I know very well we are going to be extremely successful. Minister, thank you so much for everything you have done for us. In my first meeting with Premier King, we spoke about number of projects, and I saw the support for the university. I'm very pleased with his vision. I know very well he's a great friend of the university, and as he said, this is the. You really like to make an announcement probably on Monday or so, if you wish, but I know that you are not here, so we will wait for a few weeks. But really, I want to tell you about what happened. In 2012, we had a dream. Today, the dream became a reality. The dream of building a lab for climate change and adaptation. And what a better place, if you think of any place in Canada, than BEI, a great living laboratory. So we had the initial idea, and we were able to attract an outstanding researcher in the field, Dr. Adam Finnick, that he came, and over the past 7 years, he built an amazing climate change lab. And he introduced the island to many places, not just in Canada, but around the world. Through his work, we were able, together with the Vice President Academic and Research and our Dean of Science, to build a school for climate change and adaptation. We started that last year. And the reason that we building this building is for the vision that we have as an institution, that the students need to work together. We believe in hands-on experience. We want the student from day one to be engaged with the community, to work together, and to see that the community is very supportive. This is quite amazing. When Minister MacAulay and I spoke first, I realized that the best place that we can build in here in St. Peter's, very close proximity to Greenwich and the work that we have been doing with Parks Canada. And the three people that actually made the donation of the land were quite amazing people. They were friends. They were alum of the university. They have alum and friends in many different ways. Gordon McKay has been the chair of the Inspire campaign that we concluded just recently. And right away, when I spoke to him, he said, I need to speak with my sisters and decide how we are going to do that. I spoke to him. By the time I reached my office, which was about 10 minutes from leaving his office, actually the land was donated to the university. What an amazing person, an amazing supporter of our institution. Ray Keenan also was part of the Inspire campaign. When I started talking to him about the project, him and his family made the decision to donate the land, but not only to do that, but to be part of the project too, which was quite amazing. We've been working with him in many things that will be involving the potato crops and how are we going to improve it and so on. Quite amazing family, and thank you so much for that. Richard Flynn, another alum of UPEI, that when representative of our community that are here, two of them are here today, Gordon McKay and Ray Keenan, and their support and believe in the vision of our institution. Thank you so much. When Dr. Finnick joined us in 2012, one of the first things we realized we need to connect with is the indigenous community. And we have been working with the indigenous community, and they are going to be playing an important role in that project. And actually, if you look at how are we delivering our own climate change and adaptation program, you will find the indigenous community is well represented because we need to learn a lot from them. They have been and researcher, postdoctoral fellows, research professors to come here and work. We are talking about having cohort of students and researchers working together and living together, thinking that affect the whole globe. And I'm so proud that our center will be the first Canadian Center for Climate Change and Adaptation. We would like to serve our local community here in BEI, our larger community, which is Canada, and we want to be part of the solution for the world. And attracting researchers to come here, not only going to benefit us and our students to grow, but also it's going to benefit us and benefit our economy. The more that we can deal with climate change, the more that our economy will continue to enhance. Knowing very well that the Canadian Centre for Climate Change, working also with our newly Faculty of Sustainable Design Engineering, working with our veterinary college, working with other places in science, biology, mathematical and computational sciences, chemistry, there is us. I would really like to thank all of you for coming to share with us the celebration. Another dream became a reality today. This is one of our dreams, and we have many dreams, and I hope that you will be able to share that with us. In the next year or so, you are going to see the building being built here, and during this, we are not going to stop. We're going to continue working with researchers, exciting them, attracting them to come here until the building is completed. And you are going to see many people that come from around the world that they will say when they are leaving that St. Peter, BEI, is our home. And that's what we want. Thank you so much. I'm really
Thank you, gentlemen. Merci, messieurs. An extraordinary example of the power of our little island. As part of a national organization, Parks Canada, from coast to coast to coast, my colleagues, my counterparts, are always astounded at what we're able to do here on Prince Edward Island. So thank you so very much. This is indeed a dream come true today. This marks the official end of the proceedings. However, as you probably very well know, Minister MacAulay wants the last word. Minister MacAulay.
Here, like to have tea and coffee and chat a bit after all this is over. Also, we're having a nice strawberry and ice cream social, Francis and I, and Dennis, you're welcome. Stephen, Sydney, you're welcome. It's an open event at the firm down in Magell. Love to have you. Going to be a nice evening. Enjoy yourselves. But I want to say thank you for coming, because no matter if you're working on the Wood Islands Ferry or whatever, when you have people behind you, you can make things happen. If you're alone, you can do very little. People see this. This is what you call working together. This is what you call working together.